So let me show you how I now use these sketchbook pages that I made in the previous video. I'll start with these drawings where I just put some ballpoint down on the paper. And I'm just going to work in ballpoint, which is what I do. So I'm going to take a different color. I'm going to use blue this time, and I'm going to start responding to the shapes that I see on the paper. So a lot of times what that means is I start to shade around shapes that are interesting. So I'm going to shade around this little kind of raindrop shape. Kind of like this little shape here, so I'm going to keep that and I'm going to work around that. Just finding little areas that appeal to me that I want to highlight by shading around them. Ballpoint is a slow process for me. Like this just doesn't happen fast. So you have to have a little bit of patience, but I like the process of putting pen down on paper. So this is fun to me, even if it takes a little bit of time. And I'm going to work my way all the way around this. So there's a start, and maybe I'll do that with one other shape. Maybe it's this circular shape up here. I'll kind of work my way around that one. Having those marks in the paper just makes it easier to get started. There's not a lot of thinking. Because again, sometimes the starting is very much the hardest part. So if you've already got marks on the paper, then getting started is a lot easier and a lot less intimidating. You may hear some scratching in the background. It's because both of my cats are now joining us in the room. They are very interested. Richard is just off screen and Cleo is on the floor at my feet. So this isn't finished, but you can see, I've got to start. So one fun thing you can do next, if we go on to these marker drawings. So a fun thing to do with the marker is just to get started is to trace around what you made, those marks of the marker. I saw this online somewhere. I can't take credit for it. I should try to dig and find where I saw it originally. But this can be such a fun way to just get started and just move your pen around the paper. Sometimes the act of making and drawing is what you're after. It's not about the final process. It's about just making something that's relaxing and fun to draw. If it ends up being pretty in the end, that's great. And if not, that's okay too. But I love doing this sometimes just to get started. Get my brain into that making mode by moving my hand and following lines. After I get through all this, I could just leave it like this, or I could draw on top of it. And if you don't like what you see at the end, that's okay, but did you enjoy making it? Like, this is fun. That was fun just to do that. And then lastly, I did those watercolors. I did that watercolor page. These I use kind of purely as just background, and so sometimes I might scribble right over the top of this. I'm going to use, I'll use black again. So I might start making shapes that have something to do with what's going on in the background, or maybe nothing at all. I use these kind of loopy raindrop shapes all the time. They just show up all the time. So now but look at how quickly I've got like a page. I've got a drawing. I could just leave it like that. I'll probably not, because that's just not the way I work. But one of the other things I like to do is sometimes add some little marks into some of the spaces to create interest. I use these little hatch marks, straight lines, all of the time, because most of my drawing is pretty organic, and I like the way these straight lines contrast against the my more organic shapes. Then I probably would start shading in here. And if you're interested in learning how I kind of shade with a pen, check out my e-courses. There is a ton of in-depth, up-close, personal explanation of how I do this. And also, I have a book coming out in 2025 where you'll be able to get even more insight into my practice. So be sure to follow along here and head over my website and sign up for my mailing list, because then you'll be sure to find out when this book comes out. So you see, ballpoint shading can be kind of tedious, but it's fun. I like it. So that's why I do it. I don't do this because if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it, basically. There's no point. Life's too short, right? So I'm not going to continue on, but you get the point. So use these pages as a jumping off point to get rid of that scary white page and make something fun and enjoy the process. Thanks for joining along today.